Hello and welcome to Super Switchheads, the premier Nintendo podcast on all of the internet and off of the internet too.
Sure.
Hello everybody, my name is Patrick Nisley. With us here is
Matthew Stoner.
My name is David Howe.
And I'm Alana Knight.
Hey, what's up?
We've got a special guest, Lana Knight.
Very special guest. How you doing, Lana?
I'm doing good. Good. Glad to be here.
Yeah.
Doing fantastic.
Thanks for doing the podcast.
Thank you
for having me.
How exciting is all this?
It's super exciting. It's a fancy setup. I'm into it.
Well, thank you. You're here to talk about Nintendo fandom, Bowsette, Waluigi, and just being a fan of Nintendo memes.
Yup.
And David, before we get into all that and all the news and stuff, I
this Bowsette-centric episode. I've been excited for this episode for so long, guys. You have no idea.
On our Discord, we have Bowsette memes only.
That's
channel.
right.
A whole channel, just for Bowsette memes. Anyway.
Sorry.
We'll add you if you're not already on it.
I was going to say, David, you got a piece of, or like an email or something today, right? Where you got accepted into something. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I finally got, they've been doling out the Mario Kart Tour Android beta keys now or at least like invitations for it for a few days. And the whole beta sign up process was basically like, hey, you can sign up, but then we're going to draw basically randomly from the people that have signed up. So it was pretty lucky, but I did get a beta key that should be coming in tomorrow. So tomorrow, basically throughout the next following week, I'll be testing out the Mario Kart Tour beta. So I'm pretty excited. Wish I could report a little bit more on what it's like today, but I have not played it yet. But we'll talk about that next week. Yeah, as long as there's not like an NDA or something that I'm not supposed to talk about.
Yeah. Do they make you sign an NDA?
Probably,
play a beta game?
Yeah. I think they would. There's like stuff you're not allowed to like post online or like talk about. Yeah.
Well, hopefully you can tell us about it.
Yeah. I'll look it up.
Either way, like off the record discussion or something.
Because we do know that NOA listens to this podcast.
Oh, it's the premier Nintendo.
Yeah, it's the premier podcast on all of the
Okay, let's get to the news.
So the big piece of news, the Mario Maker 2 Direct happened shortly after our last episode, and that was freaking fucking awesome.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
It was really,
I was
really great.
super into it. I assume you guys were too, based on your responses.
Yeah, I watched it like 4 times.
Did you see this, Lana?
No, I did not.
Oh, it's really nice. It's like 15 minutes straight of just like juicy Mario Maker 2 stuff.
It was a really well done presentation, and I was really excited for this game already, but now I'm super excited for this game. I think this might be my most anticipated game coming up that I'm aware of.
Yeah, it definitely is for me. Yeah. And it started too, and it was like, man, what is this even going to be? Because it started with just like, it was like basics. 3 to 4 minutes of just recapping Mario Maker. It's like, oh, okay, I guess that's just going to be the direct. And it was like, bam, every 5 seconds is a new thing that they're adding into the game.
Yeah, so there's a story mode. There you can do building levels local with your friends online, or not online, but local co-op building. There's online multiplayer, which is fucking nuts.
Which is absolutely insane.
Yeah, that blows my mind. That's the coolest thing.
You can do...
I'm not like a Mario Maker. I would play it, but I wasn't excited as you are, David, about Mario Maker. But knowing that I can play my friends' Mario Maker levels with them.
Regardless of where you are. I think other than the NES Online app on the Switch, I think this is the first time that you can play a Mario side-scroller online with other people.
And there's versus and co-op modes. Man, I'm into that. And there's new clear conditions for levels. You can make it so you don't have to just get to the end of the level. You have to collect coins or beat a certain amount of enemies or whatever.
Did you look in detail at some of those? Like
I've watched this like 3 times.
Yeah. We'll have you watch it a couple times.
So you can catch up.
Let's pause right now. We're just gonna play the entire 15 minutes on this podcast,
right? Just the audio. No, but one of the clear conditions that I thought was really cool, because it's like, a lot of it's like get 10 coins or beat a Bowser or whatever. But there was also one that was like, don't jump after landing once. So it's basically you can only jump once to clear a level or something like that. You know what I mean? So there's like lots of little tiny clear conditions in there. So I think it's going to just open up the possibility for levels like infinitely.
And there's tags or whatever you want to call them for your levels online. So it's not, you can tag levels as auto scroll or as good for multiplayer or whatever, which is great because I know that was some of the issue. That was an issue with the first one.
Yeah, there's like a tag for those auto levels where you just kind of don't move.
Right.
So if you see that and you hate those levels and you actually want to play a level, you can just skip those.
And you can search based on tags and stuff.
Yeah.
It's so cool. I think that, knock on wood, because it's Nintendo, but hopefully it looks like the online for this game is going to be pretty awesome, which is saying something.
Yeah.
I feel like.
There was one weird thing that was missing, though, that I think a lot of people were expecting, especially once the multiplayer stuff started happening, was they didn't really clarify whether or not you'd be able to play multiplayer levels on one console, like in docked mode.
Yeah,
right. They showed it off like on multiple switches, but not really just by itself. Although that having been said, on the eShop page, it does say 1 to 4 players. Yeah, like locally. So
and the Japanese page in particular, I don't know if you saw this, like really has info that makes it look like it even more than the American one. But it is a big question mark because I think we've learned to believe that if Nintendo doesn't tell us something, it's probably not happening.
Right, just not to get our hopes up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it does seem weird, though. I can see why, because if the whole screen lock thing, right? Like when you're playing online multiplayer, you could be in different parts of the level. But are they going to introduce a bubble system, or you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, or I think a lot of it too is like, is the camera going to zoom out like it does? Like, is the engine built for it? You know what I mean? Like, in the new Super Mario Brothers things, it's kind of like Smash, where a bunch of people fill up, the camera kind of pulls out. But who knows?
The other really big sort of question mark is the extra game styles. Did you guys see this? So, there's the 4 main game styles of Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers 3, Super Mario World, and New Super Mario Brothers. And then there's sort of in its own separate category because you can't the assets don't translate, is Super Mario 3D. I'm all over the place here. World
3D world style, but it's
but there's like it says, but then it says extra game styles, so which is plural, and there's sort of a big empty space there, which makes, again, we shouldn't believe things aren't coming without them saying it. But that's almost like them saying it by showing the word pluralized there and there being that big empty space. So everybody's speculating about what is that going to be something we see at E3? Is that going to be DLC down the road? Is it,
right.
or are we all just getting our hopes up for nothing?
I mean, there's definitely going to be another style. It's just kind of what it's going to be at this point. I mean, like, what do you guys think? What's y'all's prediction?
Just like, quick. What do you all want?
I kind of want Super Mario Brothers 2.
That's kind of the overwhelming.
That's one of
majority.
the ones you hear about. Some people are saying Galaxy or Odyssey, maybe even like where the capture mechanic would be really cool in 2D.
Yeah,
and could create some really interesting things.
And there were some 2D kind of levels in Odyssey that use the capture mechanic, so it kind of makes sense. But I think Mario Brothers 2 makes the most sense just because it is a classic one, and it's like so different from all the other games. It's like a fever dream of a game other than a real Mario game, the kind of pull up thing. Yeah, what were you going to say?
Throw something wild suggestion? Super Mario Sunshine.
Yeah. That could be really cool.
They have the flood mechanic or whatever. That could be different. And there's different enemies. I mean, that's also a possibility. Any game that I feel like for it to be an extra style, it has to be different enough, and all those are. So
I mean, I think it's probably going to be Super Mario Brothers 2, but what I would like it to be is Super Mario Land 2, like the 6 golden coins, like Game Boy game.
Those seem too similar, right? Like,
I mean, I guess there's. Yeah, you're probably right.
I mean, there's different things, but
it does say styles plural. So.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the third truth too. Like, I mean, even though there's one spot, I do feel like if they could add more with DLC or something.
I think it should be a Donkey Kong Country Returns style.
Well, go here's my like super crazy suggestion for this is like a Zelda style, because you know how a Link's Awakening remake is coming out and that has Mario elements in it. What if they made a little 2D style that has like Zelda elements in it?
That would be super cool. I'd get the game. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
It's probably not happening, but it's a
my
wild
style that I want. And in every episode, I get to make one joke, and that's a town reference.
Do you want a town style?
Yeah, dude.
That new Game Freak game Town that like nobody really
is
knows
talking
anything
about. You know, it's very funny.
We are big stalwarts of Town here on this podcast.
Well, before we move on too much, do you guys think that that's going to be something they show at E3? This other
I think so.
style, or do you think it's
I didn't
even
think about different game styles to a Mario game, because that could be an infinite number of games or universes. It could be Hyrule from Zelda, or any world from Metroid.
Yeah, even just throwing in like Zelda enemies would be cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think, I don't know. I think we'll probably see something about that. And then the other thing that was kind of conspicuously missing from this direct was the amiibo costumes. You know, that kind of NES like outfits. There were like 200 or something in the original game. And they didn't show those at all. I can't imagine they would just cut those. So hopefully my dream there is that we would see them in that style and in the World or Super Mario Bros. 3 style as well. But that would obviously take a lot more, you know, pixel art and coding that they might not want to do.
I feel like they're holding something off for E3, so, even if it's just something minor to show. Though I hope it's the other style, because I just want to know what that is.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Also, as part of this direct, they announced there's a bundle of the game that comes with a year of online for just $10 extra, and then there's this whole voucher program thing. That's kind of cool, I guess. So you pay $100 to get $120 worth of first party games, basically.
Right. So you like save $20.
And they last a year, so you can hold on to them for upcoming games, theoretically.
The list is pretty robust too.
Yeah, it's like every first party or exclusive game, it seems like. Or maybe not every exclusive game, but like a lot of them.
The weird thing
Anything
is
published
that,
by Nintendo. Or
like, there are games in that list that are $50. You know what I mean? So you could like buy a $100 voucher and get two $50 games with it. It's just,
Right.
it would save you. It would be like 2 cents more.
And games like Sushi Striker, I think, might be in that list, which you can get
Fitness
physically
Boxing
for like
is in that list.
$15 or
Yeah,
something with right now. Because
I think it's pretty good though. I'll probably end up pre-ordering it that way. Cause it's like, especially if you like buy, say you buy some like eShop cards at a discount, then you use that towards it. And then you also get like $5 of gold points or whatever when you buy it. So it's like all these discounts kind of start stacking.
Yeah.
There is like theoretically a way to spend like $75 and get 2 full games, you know? So
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah,
probably
ever
be doing
since
it
this
that way.
announcement, I've been thinking about why Nintendo would do this or have this voucher program, because people buy games on the eShop or from retailers. And so maybe Nintendo just wants to track some of that data so people come to Nintendo to buy games as opposed to like Amazon or Target. And so they are able to get more people in the door and sell more Nintendo products. I don't know what you guys think, but
I think they've also been trying to follow through on their promise of special deals.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
But they didn't have to have special deals, period. But I guess they felt like people were so critical of online.
This is like their equivalent of like the PlayStation Plus deals on
games
the
with
PSN.
gold.
Right. You know, it's like just a little bit of extra discounts if you are a subscriber.
Yeah.
The other thing they said, there's going to be a tournament, a Mario Maker 2 tournament on June 8th, I guess right around E3 there. So that's interesting. I want to see what that looks like. I guess it's the competitive multiplayer.
They did, if you want a little
did they do
hint
one for
of
the
what
first one?
of what it's like, is that whenever they brought back the Nintendo World Championships that one year for E3, like one of the last, if not, I think the last thing was custom levels in Mario Maker. And it was basically, they were like races, you know, like relay
so it
races.
was like speed runs, but I guess this time there can be the 4-player
Slopes.
mode. Oh, that too. And speaking of E3, the floor plans for E3 have come out, and so we can see where all the different gaming companies are going to be at the conference. And now that Sony's not there and Microsoft's not there, when you look at these, it's just like Nintendo is like got 2 huge squares in the West Hall or whatever.
Yeah, they're like straddling Oculus, which will maybe they can talk about VR stuff together, I guess. Compare units.
So you can check that out if you want. That's on the E3 website. It's kind of cool. And maybe at E3 we'll hear more about, or probably we'll hear more about lots of games, but maybe in particular Luigi's Mansion, because that game got rated.
Damn, can I just say real quick, you're like on a roll with these segues. That was like 2 beautiful segues in a row. I just want to break them up now and just congratulate you on that. Sorry, let's continue.
No, thank you, Dave.
Congrats, dude.
I just feel like you don't get enough credit for that.
Master of segues.
So, but yeah, Luigi's Mansion 3 got rated in Korea, and I think, who knows, that could still mean it's not coming till the end of the year, or it could get delayed or whatever, but typically that means it's coming soon. So maybe it's coming sooner than we all thought. Everybody thinks maybe October because of Halloween, though I don't know that Halloween's a big thing in Japan. But we'll see.
I imagine this is something they've been working on quite a bit over the past few years, just not being super public about it. So I wouldn't be surprised if they dropped it pretty soon after E3.
We did actually see gameplay of it last year. So
yeah.
Next bit of news we want to talk about is Sony and Microsoft had this sort of vague announcement that they are working or partnering on cloud gaming / streaming using Microsoft Azure. Azure.
Azure.
Yeah.
Azure.
I think it's Azure.
Azure.
Right? Azure. I'm pretty sure it's Azure.
I don't know.
Nobody feels confident about it.
Yeah, no.
Nobody likes the name of this.
we all know what it is.
Yeah.
So that's like Microsoft's cloud-based thing for, I guess, I don't know that it's just for gaming. I don't know a whole lot about it, to be honest with you. But what's interesting is that Sony and Microsoft are working together on this, and I think that's probably good for the consumer. Maybe because there'll be some, who knows? I don't know that it will be or not. But
there's a nice little photo of the Sony and Microsoft heads like shaking hands.
Yeah,
it was pretty nice.
And there's
very cute.
A guy on Twitter. His name's David Gibson, and I am told by the internet that he is worthy of listening to as some sort of analyst. Who said that Nintendo is looking to use Microsoft Azure as well.
This is good podcast material right here.
Yeah. Laughing at our own jokes.
The Azure.
It's just too funny when you say it. But yeah, he was saying that Nintendo might be using that as well.
Yeah, that Nintendo is looking to use that in Japan and in the US or what have you for its... I mean, I don't know a whole lot about cloud stuff, but I don't think there's a ton of players in terms of the big scale. It's like Amazon and Microsoft, probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, most websites or large services, cloud services, use Azure Web Services for Microsoft or Amazon Web Services or AWS.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to see Microsoft's competitors in gaming using that for their potential game streaming. And I think we talked about this before, how Nintendo used a company for the streaming in Japan. They've for a couple of Switch games. And David,
it was actually something we talked about back in February. That company Ubitus that had worked Ubitus, I think, with a T, and they had partnered with Nintendo to bring Assassin's Creed and Resident Evil 7 streaming to the Switch in Japan, and then Microsoft basically bought that company back in February. So this has kind of already been in the works for a while, but it's now just kind of all coming to a head. And these rumors that Nintendo might also be going into it just kind of corroborates what we had talked about earlier in February. So it's not surprising, and it's honestly what I feel like Microsoft is prepping for. They're basically like, if we don't knock it out of the park with this next Xbox, then we're probably just going to be like a service-based company for other game platforms. You know what I mean?
Something else we talked about in the past was about how the Final Fantasy VII port on the Switch had some of the same glitches that were in, like, I think some of the other recent re-releases of it. But interestingly, the Nintendo Switch version of that game got patched, and the music glitch is fixed.
Yeah, this is like kind of not really like news. I mean, it's like,
I think it's interesting because this problem has been present for a while in various versions of this game.
Right. Final Fantasy 7 and 9 both have this glitch where it's basically like, as soon as you enter a battle, wherever the music was, like in the old PlayStation games, like it would pick up wherever it stopped before, and you'd get to hear some of the beautiful music that Final Fantasy is known for. But whenever you enter a battle in these new re-releases, including like on the iOS port of Final Fantasy 7 and the PC port and everything, the music would just start over. So like really hardcore fans were pissed off about it.
And those
fixed it.
iOS, that's been out for a while too.
Yeah, years.
So it's interesting that I guess enough people raised a stink about it.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. Yeah.
So I guess this just proves that there's a reason to complain about shit on the internet. The Sonic movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, people are starting to just get fed up by the fucking fan base.
We will talk about that some more.
Yeah, exactly.
But another thing, to follow up on things we talked about, in particular, I thought this was interesting. When we were talking about loot boxes and the ban on them or the potential ban on them, at some point, David, you mentioned that Belgium has a ban on loot boxes. Mm-hmm. And Nintendo's mobile games, the Animal Crossing game and the Fire Emblem game, now they are pulling out of Belgium.
Because they don't want to get rid of their loot boxes.
Yeah, because they don't want to get rid of it. I mean, for one country, especially, right?
Right.
Like,
well, a lot of people don't know this. Belgium is the second biggest gaming market in the entire world. Nah, I'm just kidding. There's like 5 people there.
But like, wouldn't it make more sense just to turn off that service for that country instead of just pulling out entirely? That
I guess
like
it's too much work, right? Like to redesign a game for one country.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like a free to play mobile game.
Balance it too. Like, yeah.
And I don't know enough about it, but I mean, they're like random skins you get when you pay with real money or whatever. Mm-hmm. And those games have also been out for a while, so
yeah.
But also, we'll see what happens if all of Europe bans it, or if the U.S. does. Then companies are going to have to start doing something different. But I don't think they're the only company pulling out of Belgium.
Right.
But I thought that was interesting, kind of follow up, because we had that discussion and we're like, well, what does that mean actually? Well, I guess it means
Belgians can't play
some mobile games. That's starting in August. Actually, I guess they're still there, but they're going to be leaving Belgium in August. So if you're a Belgian listener, use your premium currency now, I guess.
LOE. I'm very interested to see what Mario Kart Tour does as far as in-game or in-app purchases are concerned, because I know it's going to be a free-to-play game, so I wonder kind of if they're going to be kind of future-proofing for this inevitable loot box ban with this game.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting to see. I guess I'll find out tomorrow.
The Switch, we talked about this too. A lot of follow-ups here.
Yeah.
We talked about how the Switch was on pace to outsell the PlayStation 4 in Japan, and that it was going to happen soon. Well, it has happened, which is mind-blowing. The PlayStation 4 has been out for many years now, and the Switch has only been out for a few, and it has outsold the PlayStation 4 in Japan. That's cool. Mm-hmm.
Good for them.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah, not like good for them, and that's crazy and awesome, but also not surprising. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think like the PS Vita outsold the PS4 in Japan. So it's like, they love their mobile
handheld.
The Wii U outsold.
Right. And Japan has a great infrastructure, so if you have a Switch, you're probably playing it on a train somewhere.
Yeah, it'll have its own Wi-Fi or whatever.
Yeah.
Commuting from home to work and work to home and doing that. I would assume that's probably true in other locations that also have great infrastructure.
Yeah.
Here in the U.S., we do not have great infrastructure.
We don't have a lot of great stuff in general.
No, I actually I haven't been able to play my Switch as much because now I drive to work instead of taking the bus. So now it's like that was all my Switch time. Gone.
Well, once we get some self-driving cars, we'll be playing our Switches a lot more.
The Switch and my Tesla.
There is I think the kind of main takeaway from this is that we're just going to be seeing just every Japanese game come out for the Switch, like all like the big JRPGs and everything that were coming out that were PlayStation exclusives, like in all the Vita stuff, like the Vita was filled with JRPGs, and I think we're just going to be seeing all of that. It's already happening, but we're going to see way more of that over the next few years.
And in our country, in the US, the NPD numbers for April came out, and the Switch was the top selling console in the US. Mortal Kombat 11 was the top selling software just across the board, but also for the Switch.
Oh, it's available on the
April.
Switch?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. I'm going to get it on the Switch now.
Yeah, exactly. It was pretty surprising to see that be the number one Switch game for that month.
I thought they had some sort of weird ban on gore and stuff. Is it
not
toned
anymore?
down?
Yeah, not anymore.
Historically, yes, but recently, no.
There's a bunch of strange Japanese titty games on the Switch now. Yeah. Not even just in Japan, but in the US.
And
they're on the US.
And speaking of the PlayStation 2, it's kind of flipped. PlayStation has been censoring some games.
Yeah, it's weird.
And in the US, and so that even more so might drive more people to release their games.
David,
on the
you
Switch.
posted some picture of some game on the eShop that was like, I don't know, it was like Panty Finder or something.
There is a panty game coming out for the Switch. I forget exactly what it's called, but I do know that the special, like the collector's edition, comes with a pair of panties.
Oh, what?
Yeah, it's true.
So weird.
Yeah, and this is all coming out for the Switch. Yeah, there's like weird like massage games that use the HD rumble to like simulate.
Oh my gosh. Do they have those like old school like hentai clicker games where you gotta like click the different parts of her body like in the right order? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's like Senran Kagura is like one of those game series, and I don't know that because I play them. I just know that because I know that.
You're informed.
But yeah, it's bizarre that that like games are being censored on the PlayStation and being uncensored on the Switch. It's just a wacky world we live in right now.
Before we move on from the NPD, the 10th best-selling Switch software was Labo VR, and that was, as you pointed out, David, the month it came out.
Womp
Though
womp.
it did come out maybe at the end of the month, so maybe.
Kind of. It came out earlier than it was like,
Was it
more
early in the
closer to the
month?
halfway.
I can't even remember.
I remember because the first one came out 420 and everybody was really excited.
Oh, yeah.
And this one did not. I got it on 420. It was a really fun day-long activity that I did with myself. But no, this one came out a little bit earlier.
Yeah,
remember
I
that,
just
so.
looked it up. It was April 12th, so yeah, you're right. So that's not good for that.
So I guess
Labo.
it answers that question about the scarcity issue because like it was scarce, and I think that was just retailers not ordering as many. Yeah.
Last little bit of news I wanted to mention was that Sakurai, the Smash head developer gentleman in Japan, he has a column in Famitsu, a Japanese newspaper, where he talks about lots of things. But his newest one, he talked about Smash again, talked about 3.0. And the little interesting tidbit here was that he mentioned the sort of lack of co-op modes, and in particular playing co-op online and that kind of stuff, and saying that they wanted to include it, but they just didn't really make it in. So it was nice to hear that addressed, because I know that's one of the things that everybody, including myself, wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more ways to play online and that, but I guess they just couldn't make it work or whatever. Yeah. Did you guys read that? Or
It's funny that we're getting online co-op Mario Brothers before we're getting online co-op Smash, but yeah. I did not read that, but that is interesting that he brought that up.
Yeah, he brought it up. And he talked about 3.0 and Joker and all that. So check that out if you're interested.
So did you mean that like this is just specifically like his recurring column in this newspaper?
Yeah, he has a recurring.
There's a Japanese that has a recurring column just for Sakura to talk about
Yes.
Smash.
Exactly.
Well, he doesn't just. My understanding is he doesn't just talk about Smash, but we don't really hear about it unless he does, because that's when people bother to translate it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think he just talks about whatever. I don't even know. I mean, I assume it's a gaming related.
It's mostly
Yeah.
Smash and Nintendo related. Yeah.
It's a gaming related thing, but it's interesting to read too, because like he talks about sort of like Golden Week in Japan and stuff like that, which recently happened, and I don't really pretend to understand what that is, but so yeah, he talks about other things.
That's nice. Good for him when he's not working on Smash.
Which is when he's writing that, I guess.
Yeah.
And then just before we move on to the main point, I know like next week, like I think there's supposed to be a Korokoro article coming out next week about that delves into some great depth about Pokemon Sword and Shield. So hopefully next week we'll be able to talk about that some.
Well, then we'll move on. We'll talk about our main point, which we're going to be talking about sort of Bowsette and Nintendo memes and Nintendo fandom online.
Why is Waluigi so popular?
And Waluigi, yeah. Like, what's the deal with that? So in this day and age, in the internet era, fans can connect in ways that we couldn't years ago. You know, we can communicate with the creators. We kind of like we were talking about, making a stink about things. And one of the things we'll start with is after the September Nintendo Direct last year in 2018, that's when they announced new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe for the Switch, and they showed off that Toadette is now in the game, and that she can get this crown power up and transform into Peachette. And all of a sudden, the internet exploded with, well, what if Bowser took that power up and became Bowsette, which is not the right naming convention.
Yeah, it should probably
by
be
the way.
Bowser.
It should be Peachzer. Because now because Bowsette has Bowser and Toadette's names mashed up. But Peachzer or whatever.
It doesn't roll off the tongue.
It doesn't roll off the tongue,
No.
and I don't think you don't really understand that Bowser is involved.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter, but that's what happened. And that was nuts. So we'll kind of use that. Just people started making art and comics and memes.
Within a week, there were like hundreds of thousands of pieces of art.
And-
it was a great week.
It was a great week. So yeah, let's talk about that. Like, it was a great week. Why was it so great?
Yeah. What are your takeaways?
Oh man. So on the name thing, I think it's because at first not a lot of people, like myself included, because I don't like regularly watch the Nintendo Directs. Sorry.
That's what this podcast was for.
Yeah.
Just listen to us.
Yeah. I prefer to get quick summaries, but I get all of my news from memes. So I don't think anyone really understood exactly how it worked, just that like the crowd makes you look like Peach.
Right.
And I think like at least I thought it was because she's the Mushroom Kingdom. I just thought everything would be like at like Bowsette, like Luigi at like there were a lot of
Mariette.
or like I think my favorite was like the Chompettes. Those were really nice.
Chompette's kind of cute.
Yeah, I 10 out of 10. Yeah.
It's like a little manic pixie dream girl, like chain chomp.
Oh, so good. Yeah, it was a lot. I think that was like one of my favorite things too, was seeing all the spin-offs of not just like Bowsette, but like all the other ones, the Chompets and stuff.
And Boo and
Some Bowsette or
just
whatever.
every Nintendo character, and like not Nintendo, because people were putting it on like Sonic. Like there was a Sonic
Of course they were.
Yeah.
Tails that was weird.
This is nothing new for Sonic fans.
So there was
Sonic fans have been like this forever, and very vocal about it. I feel like this is more of a recent thing for Nintendo.
On top of it just being Bowsette, it was very sexualized, right?
Yeah.
I mean, not all of the casual stuff, but even that had a very sexual air to it, which I think Sonic fandom has
They're used to it. Well, I think that happens anytime because all of it was fan created art, and I think a lot of like fan artists like DeviantArt and Tumblr and stuff. And if I'm not mistaken, this was also before Tumblr banned porn.
That's true.
A lot of like internet artists' art styles are kind of sexy and sexualized, and cosplayers too, because after the meme started really taking off, people started cosplaying it, and a lot of people just like sex sells. So it's like, it's the internet. If it exists, there's porn of it. So it's very
right. Rule 34.
Yeah, Rule 34 definitely took over with that one.
I think the comic that I'm looking at is the first Bowsette meme, which is it shows Mario and Bowser.
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 It's Bowser.
Mario and Badger giving flowers to Peach. She says no. They're crying, and then they look at each other while Bowser has the crown, and then he turns into sexy.
Yeah, and then like Peach is like looking in the distance, being like, "What the fuck is this all about?"
Yeah.
It's playing off the end of Odyssey, right? Where they're like,
exactly.
They both try to.
Yeah, whenever Peach like turns them both down. Yeah. I think it just like kind of taps into the inherent horniness of a lot of Nintendo's fan base. And hear me out on this, because there are actually like a lot of like metrics and studies done by Pornhub, like whenever the Switch came out, where like whenever Breath of the Wild basically was out and the Switch had just come out, like the amount of traffic on Pornhub dropped dramatically. Like, which is like says, just something about the fan base in general, you know what I mean? And it's like, and I think a big part of this too was it was like a way for a bunch of artists and fan artists to like flaunt their stuff. And it was also kind of this gender swapped kind of, gender bent sort of thing that was like,
Rule 43.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Which caught a lot of people off guard. And I think it also kind of just opened up a lot of, more of the kind of, gender fluid, like gamer culture, which there is a very large part of the gamer culture that is like that,
Birdo.
Trans and gender fluid. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was kind of almost like vindicating in a lot of ways for a lot of people to see that kind of stuff be popular.
Nintendo is like the brand for like queer horny gamers.
As evidenced by Splatoon, I feel like. I don't know if you...
And those are children, okay? So we need to watch ourselves on that one.
Yeah.
Wait, are they?
I mean, they're squid kids. They're inklings.
I just meant more like
You're
the
a squid,
messages
you're a
you
kid.
see. The messages you see in Ingopolis Square, there's a lot of just gay pride. Nope. You know what I mean?
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a lot of-
Or like
People-
trans rights now or something like that. You're
which
looking
is
at the
really
neighbors.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, the battle will be fought in Splatoon.
The revolution will be streamed in a Splatoon match.
That makes sense. It makes sense.
Oh, and then speaking of that kind of like latent horniness with like Pornhub, they also do analytics for like search terms too, and like terms like Bowsette was like a #1 like search term like after the memes and stuff started. But I think that also happens anytime there's any kind of like new female video game character, because like the same thing happened with like Overwatch. Like after the like traffic dipped back up after Breath of the Wild, like Zelda. There's so much.
Yeah, tons
there's
of like
so
Link
much
and-
3D Zelda porn.
Yeah, Link and Prince Sidon was a huge ship.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes. Again, queer horny gamers.
Yeah. There's one of my favorite memes I saw like after Breath of the Wild came out it was kind of like one of those memes where they take letters from different titles and stuff like that, and it's almost pieced together like a ransom note, you know what I mean? And it just said, it was a picture of Link riding Prince Sidon, it just said, the legend of me wanting to fuck a fish.
Oh man. My favorite, it was a Tumblr blog for a while, I think, but it's on Facebook now, but it's like Social Justice Wario. And so it's like,
No way.
so it's like all of these like really cool, like kind of like anti-fascist sayings and stuff.
That's
And it's
awesome.
like with Wario saying them. Hang on, let me try to like.
That's awesome. That is at first surprising, but the more I think about it, I do think Wario would be the wokest out of all the Mario characters, for sure.
Oh yeah, he rides a motorcycle.
Yeah, he knows how to game the capitalist system.
It's the mustache too. Like it's very.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, one of the other things I saw before we move completely away from Bowsette was that somebody made a Breath of the Wild mod where you play as Bowsette. Did anybody else see that?
Yeah, that was cool. There was honestly a point where I was like, Bowsette for Smash? Like, because like Bowsette would be an awesome character, and it's like another female character that would be really cool. If Nintendo embraced it, that would be awesome.
That was like the most disappointing thing, because it was so like widespread, and I feel like it wasn't like addressed that much. And it's like they really could have, like, I would have, like, even if they released as like paid DLC or something, I'm sure people would have like wanted it.
I would buy the shit out of a Bowsette like me costume for Smash.
That'd be incredible.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
I've already tried to make one. It's hard. It's hard to do a black dress and Smash.
Yeah.
and I feel like a Bowsette as like an identifiable character. It's not a Nintendo branded character. It's not like a Mario or Wario or Waluigi. But it's so on like the edge of the like a Nintendo zeitgeist that Nintendo at some point will identify it and will put it in some game.
You think so?
Oh, totally. Yeah, at the very least, like a trophy or some other form in Smash. Or
At the very least, to
something else.
copyright it.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
right.
That's the
Trademark
thing.
it. Yeah. How funny would it be if like the only 3DS game that comes out is like a Bowsette game? We thought the 3DS was dead. It gets a bunch of people to buy the system again.
Well, yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say one other thing kind of to go along with this kind of latent sexuality in Nintendo fans. Around the same exact time was also when the whole scandal with Trump and Stormy Daniels was going on.
Right.
And this is when she referred to Trump's dick as shaped like Toad from the Mario games.
Oh, yeah.
And I just remember Toad was like trending on Twitter during that time as well.
For the wrong reason.
Yeah, it's a very odd
the
time to be a
worst
Nintendo
reason.
fan online.
Yeah, it's like- and I think that's why they're staying away from Bowsette. It's very sexualized, and I mean, like, even though what we just said is that Nintendo's allowed a lot of stuff on their consoles recently, their first party games are still very family friendly, and so I'm going to disagree with y'all that I don't think Nintendo's ever going to embrace Bowsette as a legit.
I don't know.
thing.
Does Nintendo have any like sexy mascot characters or
Bayonetta kind of.
Yeah.
I guess that's
Yeah.
true.
But
Bayonetta is
it's not really their IP, but it's
they
exclusive.
own some part of it or something.
I mean,
or-
Zero Suit Samus.
Oh yeah, Zero Suit.
Zero
Yeah,
Suit Sam.
Oh, the Wii Fit trainer.
Wii Fit Trainer is the pinnacle of eroticism in video games. But I mean, other than that, I would say like, I mean, there's a lot of waifus in like,
I guess Fire Emblem.
in like Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something that's been kind of danced around, but you're right. It's like, even like whenever Smash Ultimate came out, a lot of the character models were redesigned to kind of de-emphasize like female anatomy, like,
Except for Zero Suit
no,
Samus.
no. Zero Suit
Even
Samus
her,
was made
yeah.
a lot slimmer, and like her proportions are a little more
Yeah,
realistic,
she's
and it's
less
like
thick.
yeah, a little less thick. Yeah, they nerfed they nerfed Snake's ass.
Yeah, they made everyone less thick. Like Nintendo's just like, stop being horny, you guys.
I blame that on Wii Fit Trainer.
Yeah. Okay, I think that was like the first like overly sexualized like Nintendo meme too. Like back when Wii Fit Trainer first got introduced, there were a lot of like yoga pose porn parodies of Wii Fit Trainer, and that was like a weird time as well. What if they did like a non-sexualized Bowsette though, like where they have it? It's more Bowser than Peach, where it's like the shell and like full-on dragon.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they, brought down the bust a little bit, you know what I mean? And I mean, cause there are like versions of Bowsette out there that isn't, inherently sexual,
Yeah.
And it's like, and I do think it's like an interesting character and an interesting idea,
Well-
and I think it just kind of opens them up and kind of gets them up to speed with current levels of kind of where we are in a progressive internet.
I do have a problem with, and I'm just talking about the game itself, a power-up that's exclusive to one character. Like, that's weird, and that's never been happened, much less a power-up that changes a character into another recognizable character.
Yeah, it's a little odd.
It's just
That
weird,
is-
and that's, I think,
Yeah.
what led to some of this is like, that's fucking weird. What,
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? What are the
Like-
implications of this?
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
why doesn't Toadette, who she gets the power up, right? Why doesn't
Yeah.
she just get taller?
Yeah, or,
Right.
or why
Yeah.
can't she just do the same things, but have a crown on her head or something? You know what I mean?
You know what I'll settle for? I'll settle for a Bowsette amiibo skin in Mario Maker 2. If we could get at least that, I think that would be huge. I think people would be satiated.
You know what? You know
Yeah.
what I'll settle for?
What? Nothing less than a Bowsette first party game.
Exactly.
I want a free to play loot box Bowsette mobile game.
Nothing but loot boxes.
Yeah, and I want it.
I want Bowsette versus Bowsette and loot box items.
And it's just her unboxing things from her Amazon wish list.
Perfect. Subscribe to our Patreon.
Exactly. Oh man, I knew this episode would be fun.
Well, another big Nintendo meme that maybe you guys have seen is the Yoshi tax fraud stuff. Have y'all seen any of this?
I'm not familiar with this meme.
You're not familiar
Oh
with
my
this
gosh,
meme?
I've seen it like a couple times. I don't get it. Like,
I don't get it either. I think you might be the most.
Oh, really? I
aware
feel
of
like
it.
that's weird.
I mean, I've
yeah,
seen-
this is.
How am I the most aware
sorry.
of Yoshi committed tax fraud? So I honestly don't know the origin of it, and there is a weird game reference to it, and I'm going to look it up now because there is a Mario Party game, I think, where
Okay.
and I don't think this is necessarily even the origin of the meme, but it just kind of like tied it back together or something.
Okay.
Yeah, people started making a meme where it's like, "Don't be like Yoshi, he committed tax fraud," or
so odd.
it's really random.
Yeah.
And it's persistent. It's been around for a while. I'm looking it up now because I'm trying to figure out. I know I think it's a Mario Party game. I don't remember which one, where he makes some comment about taxes or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm surprised y'all aren't as familiar with this.
I mean, I've seen like in the Smash video kind of downloadable stuff that you can download in Smash World. Like I've seen videos of like Yoshi fighting a bunch of like business men in like amiibo or in the Mii fighter costumes. You know what I mean? But that's about the extent that I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Okay.
said this was from a Mario Party.
Well, I could be wrong about that. I'm looking it up right now, actually.
I found the Tumblr post where it's just like someone said 64 things wrong with Yoshi, and then someone said 1 through 64 nothing, and then someone replied and said Yoshi has committed tax fraud, and then they just photoshopped, or not even Photoshop, it's just an MS Paint picture of Yoshi with a text bubble that says I committed tax fraud. I'll just show this around the room.
There it is. Yeah, that's gotta be it.
This
Yeah.
is, so
Of course it comes from nothing.
well, no, I've seen this bottom picture, the one where it's just him like with saying I committed tax fraud, but like I guess that's the origin.
Yeah,
like,
so I think the
that's
meme
it.
started around 2016, but kind of got more popular a couple years ago. And then, but since then, somebody has posted and pointed out that there's one in-game piece of evidence for
That
this,
leads to it,
and it's
yeah.
and I don't think it was related to the whoever came up with it, but I think it's Mario Party, but it might be something else. And Yoshi
it's
says,
Fortune
"Could I
Street."
please be exempt from paying taxes in the game?" So I don't know that ties.
Well, I don't think the dinosaurs should have to pay taxes. I think that's fair.
Do they
I think we should be taxing, the 1% in the Mushroom Kingdom, which is like Peach and her cronies. And obviously Bowser runs like a multinational corporation. But I don't know. What's true. You're looking at me like I was being serious, but I'm really not.
I just like doing that sometimes.
But yeah, that's an odd one for sure. The Waluigi one though.
Let's talk about that.
That at least makes some sense. You know what I mean? In that, like, they established this character Waluigi
in a tennis game.
yeah,
right?
he's a Camelot original character, but he's been in tons of games. He's been in all the party games, all the sports games. They basically just needed an extra character for these sports and party games, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, it is unbelievable to me that he has not had his own game at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Wario has WarioWare. It all the Wario,
And all the Wario Land
all the
series.
Wario Land. It's got what's the VR?
But they
Virtual Boy.
Yeah, he
Wario
had
has a Virtual Boy game.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be the devil's advocate here, but like they made Wario for Mario games originally, right? Like
Right.
back in the Game Boy era.
Right.
Waluigi was just like, oh fuck, we needed Wario to have a doubles partner in tennis.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
But he's got his own identity and his own attitude. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's like he definitely has a character that I think would be interesting to use. And even in the latest Mario tennis game, they double down on it. They put like a rose in his mouth. He's like a charmer and kind of like
seductive.
he's like a Spanish seductive
Suave.
guy. Yeah, exactly. And so it's like I'd love to see like a dating game with Waluigi or something like that.
I do think he deserves his own game at this point, but I guess I can see why he hasn't, because he wasn't created for any purpose.
He wasn't created for use. I think I could see like if there was an option to like play as him in like Luigi's Mansion when it comes out.
Yeah,
like,
that'd be cool.
That would
Yeah,
be
yeah.
really fun. Or like I was thinking, because like Wario, I could like see if they made like a Wario like mobile game. But like if there was like a Waluigi version, but I don't know what that would be, because Wario's so focused on money. Like, what is Luigi's focus? Like, what is
He's cheating, I
fucking-
feel like.
Now,
Yeah.
this is the big question that we all want to know.
Yeah.
What is
think for-
Waluigi's deal?
I think for Wario it's money. I think for Waluigi it's romance. I think that
It's love. It's the relentless pursuit
You're
of
suggesting
love.
that Waluigi's a fuckboy.
Yeah,
Oh my
yes,
God.
of course. This gaming's most notorious fuckboy.
It's gonna be like Leisure Suit Larry, but with Waluigi.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Anyway, I mean, a big part of the kind of meme, I think, with Waluigi was like putting him in Smash. Like a big one was no Waluigi, no sale, right? Like that was parroted so many times in our Facebook group before
Yeah.
Smash came out that it was actually kind of annoying. I was like, really? You guys are going to buy this? But it's
They
like,
all bought it anyway.
yeah, they all bought it. Yeah.
Well, I didn't mean to be so argumentative about it, because it does seem like at this point he's been around long enough and he hasn't had any development officially, really,
Right.
outside of sticking a rose in his mouth.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and people I think people are like Waluigi because he's such a garbage character, because he's such a tacked on.
Relatable.
Yeah, he's very he was created like, and also like his name is really funny, like
Yeah.
because Wario is just an upside down M, right?
You
On
can't
Mario.
just throw an upside down L.
Right. So Waluigi is funny for us just because it's adding a wa, but in Japanese it's a pun because Warui means like evil or bad. You know what I mean? In Japanese, so Waluigi is like Evil Luigi, like is what it actually translates to. So it's like, he's got a lot going for him.
Yeah, okay. I didn't realize in Japan they were like actually supposed to be evil.
Yeah. Well, I mean, or just like kind of negative or whatever, like the bad, like the kind of bizarro versions of these characters, So, I think it's high time. I think that we probably will see a Waluigi game at some point, especially since this whole thing is blown up. He's far less sexualized than Bowsette. So if we're going to bank on any one of these becoming a game,
he's
it would
not
be that.
Completely not sexualized.
Right. I mean, he's very hot. But
Does Waluigi have another outfit other than his purple clothes?
I mean,
he's got his tennis outfit.
He's got his tennis outfit.
Okay.
He's in like the Mario Kart games, right?
Yeah, he's in Mario
Does he have a
Kart.
racing outfit?
It'd be cool if his like outfit in his own game was like just overalls and nothing else. It was like a bare chest.
Yeah.
I want to see him in like a purple tracksuit or something.
But like a Waluigi jet.
Yes.
Dress,
Oh my God.
yeah.
Best of both worlds.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Dude,
I kind of feel like that's the note we should end on. I have all these other talking points, but we are running out of time. And like you suggested, David, anyway, we should save some of this for another time.
I guess you're right. I guess kind of the one thing we can talk about is like expectations, right?
Yeah, and I think that ties into the Waluigi thing,
Yeah.
right? And just how and also what we were talking about earlier about Sonic the movie and about Final Fantasy VII, about how the internet allows us fans to be so vocal. And then if Nintendo does blow my mind and use Bowsette in some capacity, then like the internet has influenced them, and like that sort of didn't used to be the case, right?
Right.
And people getting so upset about Waluigi and Smash, or at least pretending to be.
Right.
It's just such an interesting phenomenon. And that ties into the meme culture too, right? And we have all these things we could talk about another time, but is there anything else you wanted to say?
Well, yeah, it's just like the fan culture and like fan art and like memes and everything, it just build into the cultural zeitgeist, right? And then gamers are kind of notorious for being, somewhat entitled, and you know what I mean? And definitely a very loud majority online, will fight for what they want until they get what they want. Yeah. You see that with like, even like Gamergate and stuff like that, like that really dark time for like gamers online, like you were seeing a lot of that entitlement come through. And so it's like very good to temper your expectations when it comes to stuff like this, you know what I mean? And not get swept up in it.
No, I think I was also going to say, like, I think you have to know when it's appropriate to, like, be demanding of the companies. Like, I think there's a huge difference between, like, being like, oh, I like the Final Fantasy bug, like, wanting a bug or something fixed and patched out of a game, or, like, even with, like, Fallout 76 or, like, No Man's Sky, all those games where it's like, hey, your game is, like, fundamentally, like, broken, fix it.
Yeah.
And then I think everyone knows okay, if Nintendo doesn't put Bowsette in a game, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
So I think knowing balancing how much energy you're putting into things is also super important too. And hopefully companies are getting better about knowing when to listen and when it might just be memes and stuff. So
Yeah, and I think this whole desire to put Waluigi in Smash is just I don't know. I'm a millennial. I like ironic things.
Yeah. It's definitely a bit.
Yeah. There's part of it that's a bit, but also people want Waluigi, and that line between irony and reality is very thin.
Yeah. And it kind of, and it might start as a joke, and then then you're like, no, well, you know what? I was joking about it before, but now I really want it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It all blends together.
It would be interesting to see what his moveset would be and what he would be capable of, and how people would play him. And I think that is a lot more practical than expecting Bowsette in the game, and could possibly happen if we asked Nintendo very nicely. But I don't know if complaining a bunch and whining about it.
I think the first step is to stop drawing her fucking.
Next step, please. Next step.
One thing I will say, just to kind of cap all this off, that maybe is a little bit of a glimmer of hope before we move on, is in the Mario Maker 2 Direct, there were a number of memes that they dropped like in it. Like they
The
referred
slopes
to
thing itself is kind of or maybe not a meme, but a reaction to fans too.
Yeah, that became a meme. Like, but even just
The
like
jump
random
thing,
shit.
yeah.
They dropped in like they referred to Boom Boom as a mad lad.
Yeah.
They talked about making something bigger as embiggening. You know what I mean? It's like all these kind of internet terms and culture are kind of starting to creep in. You know, so it's like I definitely wouldn't be surprised if we were gonna start to see more stuff move in this direction, especially when you see stuff like Sonic Mania, right? Like that is a game that only exists because fans were like putting out their own content and like working with it. And then Sega was wise enough to be like, we haven't put out a good Sonic game in a really long time. These guys are basically making one for us. We might as well just have them make the next Sonic game, you know? So I think like, you know, this with the Sonic movie stuff and, you know, just different backlash in general. We're going to be starting to see a lot more of that soon. And it's going to be interesting how much they want to stick to their artistic guns versus kowtowing to like the needs of the public.
Do you think for that, like, is this the first Nintendo Direct they've done since Reggie left? Or
Yes,
yeah, it is.
yeah. So do you think like this new guy is maybe putting some more like American like internet culture into stuff?
That would not surprise me.
Hell yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I definitely know like Doug Bowser has been like, I know it's so funny still to this day that his name is.
He's taking pictures of himself with
Mario. Well, when are we going to see Doug Bowsette? That's my question. but like Doug Bowser has been like very involved in the YouTube scene forever. Like what that dude CND, he's like some YouTuber that isn't really that active anymore. I think he had a mental breakdown. But he basically, you know, stood in line for like, you know, 2 weeks or something before the Switch came out and like got one of the very first Switches. And the guy who gave it to him was Doug Bowser, right? And it was all kind of this organized thing for YouTube and fan culture outreach. And I think we're going to be seeing way more of that. I think like we've already seen that with Nintendo stopping their YouTube creators program, you know, which was really stifling for a lot of people. A lot of people really had issues with that. Now that's kind of lifted. We're going to be seeing tons of online stuff with Mario Maker 2. Yeah. It's going to be a huge hit on YouTube. So it's like embracing this is only good for business, I think.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Talk.
We'll have to circle back to this topic more sometime maybe because we had a lot of discussion points we didn't really get to, but that was a really good discussion. Thanks so much for coming and talking about that.
Yeah,
thanks for having me. This was super fun.
But before we move on,
we're not out of the woods.
We're not. Okay, yeah. right.
We are going to talk about what we've been playing recently. And Lana, you're our guest. Why don't you tell us what video games have you been playing the last week or recently?
Recently, let's see. Most of the day I spent playing The Sims 4,
nice.
Which is free on Origin right now.
Oh, it is. Yeah. I have the Origin, whatever their like subscription thing is. So I get like most of their games for free, but I like never get time to play games. That's why the Switch is so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, every once in a while I'll still like play Breath of the Wild, just cause that's like really relaxing and I still haven't 100%ed it yet. But yeah, lots of Sims, Breath of the Wild. Oh, Spider-Man. I've been playing the Spider-Man game on PS4.
That's one that I never got all the way through and I really need to pick back up.
It's such a nice game. It's like almost like GTA where you like it's easy to like play while eating before bed.
Sure.
It's just like
web around for a little bit.
Yeah. It's like quick in and out games are like my thing. So yeah.
Cool.
Nice.
That's great. You want to go next?
Sure. I haven't really been playing much new. I guess I played a lot of Smash recently, and I played some Tetris 99. I did get the Game Boy skin.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that.
That was this past weekend was the Maximus Cup, and
how many points did you end up with?
I really quit after I got the skin.
Okay, right. Yeah.
I was going camping, and we actually didn't end up going, but we still did a lot of stuff outdoors and stuff.
That skin's pretty cool, huh?
I really like it because I played the Game Boy. Tetris was my main Tetris, and that music is great.
Yeah.
Like, and I got my son really into it. It's like, I got to earn these 100 points. He's 4.5. And he was like, oh, you got to get the bar all the way up. You know, you got to play again. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, it's definitely really nostalgic. Even like the
and then when you lose,
yeah. It was great. Yeah, I was kind of caught off guard by how cool that Game Boy skin was.
But that's pretty much it for me.
I went on a 13-hour road trip to Santa Fe, which I had some quality time with my Switch, and I was also with other people, but I paid to leave the Switch. But I started playing everything.
Oh, nice! Like we talked about.
Oh my god! I just had a great time.
Yeah, you really.
It's like so mind blowing, and all the quotes from Alan Watts that you find while like you're playing A Blade of Grass is like just incredible. And I was trying to show it to people that I was traveling with. I was like, "Yo, check out this game. This quote's from Alan Watts." And they're like, "What are you talking about? I don't want to play that game. You just roll around as a zebra."
The rolling around is weird.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. But yeah, that's cool. I'm glad that you finally got some time in on that. It's a really fun game. For me, I've still been playing a lot of Mario Maker. I'm still in kind of the, like getting my mind ready for Mario Maker 2. So I'm playing a lot of that on the Wii U, doing the 100 Mario challenge. I'm definitely getting better, but I still do think in Mario Maker 2, they need to, because it goes from normal to expert in Mario Maker. I think they need hard in between
and
that.
they didn't like highlight it, but there's like easy, and I might have the terms wrong from the direct, but like it was like easy, normal, expert, and super expert. There were four.
So it's the same ones.
Four differentials. Is that the same as they had?
That's what it is on Switch too. So, or on Wii U.
Well,
so hopefully
there's better.
Yeah, hopefully the algorithm changes a little bit, because the jump between normal and expert is like the jump between beginner and normal is very, very small, and then the jump between normal and expert is huge, right? So it's like, I'd love to see something a little in there. Other than that, I've been playing all 3 Picross S games, just like kind of going through and finishing up all the stuff in there, and it looks really nice when they're all in a row on my Switch home screen. Did do the Tetris 99 Maximus Cup, got that Game Boy skin, ended up with about 350 points. Not as good as I would hope. But I'm almost at level 50, y'all. I'm getting up there.
Wow.
And then other than that, I played a little bit of Versus Excitebike on the NES app on the Switch, which is pretty fun and a little frustrating. I tried to make some cool courses, and man, it's just like you're playing on an NES. Like it's really limiting. But also the really annoying thing about Versus Excitebike is that it was originally a disc game, right? Like on a floppy disk is like how they would boot it with the Nintendo disk system. So all those like floppy disk loading times are just faithfully reproduced in this ROM. Like restarting a race takes like 17 seconds to like, it's like now saving ... Now loading ... Then you start it and then it loads again and you're just like, man, this is annoying. But it is really fun. It's definitely like the best version of Excitebike were it not for the loading times. But yeah, other than that, I'm just excited to play more Mario Maker.
Awesome.
That's exciting.
Hey, well, now is our chance to say thank you for,
Yes.
for being on the episode.
You were a fantastic guest. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Sorry, I didn't look down at the schedule.
We're just having conversations.
Yeah.
And thanks to Corduroy for our music. And thanks for listening, everybody. Give us a review on Apple Podcasts. Shoot us an email or get in touch with us however you want.
Yeah, subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. We're always posting on that. I know that's kind of the preferred way to listen for a lot of people. So if you didn't know we have a YouTube, we're up on there. Give us a subscribe. It definitely helps with the kind of being seen and helps with the algorithm and stuff like that. And I thought this topic was really fun. I'd love to do more stuff like this. Kind of talking not necessarily just about technical stuff in games, but talking about the culture in general. I think this kind of stuff is really interesting. So hopefully we do more talks like this in the future.
We have a lot of things we didn't get to. So
I'm sure we'll get back to it.
If there's a topic that you want to hear, definitely shoot us an email or slide into those DMs on Twitter.
Yeah. Slide into those DMs with some juicy Bowsette hentai, and we'll get back to you.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
And if you want to find me, Patrick, online, I am PDYX on Twitter and lots of other places.
I'm Matthew, MATHYOU on Twitter.
You can find me on the internet at Monolith Fiji. And what about you, Lana?
I am at Lana Knight Lana Knight 96 on Twitter.
Nice. Usurped expectations.
You switched it.
That's back to back, I think is what that is.
Yeah, I was like, wait, no, it's the birth year, not the meme. And then on Facebook, Lana Del Cray or Lana Del Comedy is my page. So yeah,
Nice.
Very good. Well, thanks everybody so much for listening. We'll be back next week. We'll be talking about the 3DS and kind of the legacy that's left behind. Other than that, we love you guys. Be sure to tune in next week. Bye-bye.